And now, help me welcome to the stage your host all evening long, Doug Mellard.
Someone's knocking it. All right. Hey, thought the lyrics kicked in at that point. We gotta work on that. Hey, what's up, everybody? Dan Cummins is in the building, you guys. Make some noise. Go. Hey, stop. Somebody was starting it. All right. Anybody else was very confused. Thanks for coming. I'm winded from chanting. That's not good. Hey, I gotta see a doctor. Oh, thanks for coming. This is awesome. This is going to be a great night. I'm excited. It's early November. It's November 3rd. This is my favorite time of the year. Yeah. Somebody got really pumped. Fucking hate Halloween. I just like early November because the hay rides are no longer haunted. You can just enjoy your hay rides ghost-free. For us people that just like to go on an enjoyable hayride on a crisp fall day. I don't need ghosts. We don't need it to be haunted. I just like to relax. I don't need a haunted blueberry field or sauna. Just want to feel good. My Halloween was weird, man. My wife and I, we were in a house for the first time together where we actually were going to get trick-or-treaters, so we're excited about that. We're going to get our first trick-or-treaters together. We're all pumped. We got so much candy, the most candy. We put up so many decorations. It was borderline terrifying. And then we just sat down and waited, and only like a few trick-or-treaters came by. We were so sad. And we couldn't figure it out. We were all insecure about it. We're like, why is nobody coming here? There's trick-or-treaters up and down the whole street, but not our place. And then a few hours after that, a friend of ours came over to hang out, and he pointed out all the reasons why no one came to our house. Here's the deal. Our house is kind of backwards. Our living room is upstairs, so we don't hear people knocking downstairs. So we put a sign out that says, "Trick-or-treaters, come upstairs for candy." That just sounds like a trap for a pedophile weirdo. And to make matters worse, we had carved pumpkins the night before up on the balcony where we were luring the trick-or-treaters. And we had just laid out a tarp right there on the balcony, and there was a table with a row of organized knives. Like, come on up, kids, get carved. We don't need no pumpkins. Not good. Oh, Lord, why did we do that? We're idiots. I'm sure a lot of you have had some issues with Zoom meetings the last couple years. Here's one of my embarrassing stories. This happened recently. My wife was having a physical therapy session, and I assumed I was off camera. Apparently I wasn't, because about 40 minutes in, I hear a stranger's voice, this physical therapist, yell out, "It looks like your husband is enjoying himself." No, I was not masturbating. It was much worse. I had crammed myself into the corner of the couch to be out of frame, which I clearly failed at. I was in my boxers eating not one, but 4 hard-boiled eggs. Like a fucking monster. I was so embarrassed. There's no rebounding from that, There's nothing you can do to look cool. I tried. I did my best. I just pulled out my laptop, which was right there. I opened it up, and I was like, "Excuse me, I have a meeting myself with the church elders." And then they didn't buy that for a second. I'm a big fan of the film Roadhouse. Anybody else? You guys? I know the guy with the flannel's a fan. It's a great film, if you haven't seen it. best film of all time. 1989 cinematic masterpiece starring Patrick Swayze in his prime, sporting the greatest mullet the world has ever known, and the most denim a human can possibly wear. Quick synopsis, if you haven't seen the film, it's basically about a guy that runs around ripping dudes' throats out at weird bars. That's the whole film. It's a easy, quick synopsis. It's great, and it actually happens to feature some of the best writing in cinematic history. Here's a great example. About 4 minutes, 32 seconds in, I've seen it a lot, a woman walks up to the bar and she says, "Hey, can I have a vodka rocks?" Which, what? That's just a shot. But she wants a whole drink of it. She's like, "Hey, can I have a vodka rocks?" And then a gentleman walks up to her and says, "Hey there, vodka rocks. How's about you and me get nipple to nipple?" That's a real line in the movie. "Hey there, vodka rocks. How about you and me get nipple to nipple?" That stayed in the picture. Executives were like, "Yeah, that's great. It's gonna win us an Oscar." My wife and I quote this film all the time, particularly that line. We say that to each other so much. It's that's like saying "I love you" or "good morning" around our house, you know? And a few weeks ago, my wife was walking to pick up her car from the mechanic about a mile away, and I happened to be driving by. I do a U-turn, I pull up next to her, and I yell out the window, "Hey there, vodka rocks! How's about you and me get nipple to nipple?" It doesn't even faze her. She just gets in the car and we go. We don't even think about this until hours later she starts cracking up, and I'm like, "What is so funny?" And she was like, "There were other people on the sidewalk when you yelled that to me. They think that line worked on me." And I was like, "That is awesome." She was like, "Not for me." I hope somebody that witnessed that tried that line later that night at a bar. And of course, they're married now. They got engaged that night after that line worked. We went to a music festival a little bit back. We went to see a friend's band play at a music festival. And after the show, we were gonna go back to their trailer to hang out and stuff. And there were a couple problems with that. One, we were on all the mushrooms in the world. And two, all the trailers back there looked like every trailer, they all looked the same. Mixed with the mushrooms, we were having a hard time figuring out what was going on. So we're about to walk into what we thought was her trailer, and as she reaches for the door, our friend just screams, "Oh shit!" She jumps back, and then she points to a sign that says it's not her trailer, but it belonged to a trailer of a musical act you may have heard of called the Wu-Tang Clan. And she just kind of ran off. And I wanted to go in so bad. They're like, "No, you shouldn't go in. You're too fucked up, and it's going to be weird." And I'm going to live with this regret for the rest of my life, you know? I think we would have made fast friends. We would have made a quick bond. But I comfort myself knowing that somewhere in the multiverse, there's another me out there that is in the Wu-Tang Clan. That's right. Somewhere out there, it's Raekwon and Jizza and RZA and Ghostface Killah and Doug. All my rhymes are about farts. It's a good gig. Pretty stoked about that. I complimented a woman on her pants the other day. I was like, "Hey, nice pants." And she then looked up at me and scanned me up and down as if to look for a compliment for me. And then she just said, "Thank you." Fuck you, lady. How easy is it to lie? In her defense, I was only wearing Crocs. That guy was like, yeah, been there. We're gonna watch Roadhouse later together. It's gonna be great. My new best friend. In her Crocs, that's it. I recently gave Charles Manson's music a listen, just out of pure morbid curiosity. And guys, it's pretty good. I kind of freaked myself out a little bit about how much I liked it. I was like, am I a murderer now? What's happening? But as freaked out as I was for myself, I felt way more freaked out for the artist that it suggested based on me liking his music, you know? Like, if you like Charles Manson music, you'll love James Taylor. Did not see that coming. It's always the quiet ones. We have a Ring camera out front, you know? So now we get all these Ring notifications in our neighborhood, which is really fun. The other night we got one, a guy posted, there was a guy that came to my door at 3:45 in the morning wielding a knife, but he ran when I answered the door. My question is, why the fuck did you answer the door? I don't know who I'm more afraid of, the guy with the knife or the guy that welcomes death. That's a joke I want to work more than it does. God damn, it worked really well one time. And I was like, that's gonna be a banger. It's okay. I went with my wife and some fam to a water park in Golden, Colorado. It's a kid's water park. Don't get excited. It's not a fun story. I'm never going back to a kid's water park again, or any body of water shared by humans. Here's what happened. My wife and I kept taking her baby cousins down these two slides that were a little bit faster than the other kids' slides. So they had to be accompanied by adults. And every time we go down, they'd have a great time. And then at one point, my wife and I shoot out at the end together, and we look at each other, and she's panicked. She's like, oh my God, I lost my sunglasses. And I was like, I got it. We signal the lifeguard. She turns off the jets for us so we can find them easier. We're digging around forever, though. We cannot find these sunglasses. Meanwhile, a line of angry children is building up. Kids, by nature, so impatient. Children waiting for a water slide, the most impatient creatures on the planet. They hate us. They are booing us. Finally, I see the sunglasses under the water. I dive under. I grab the sunglasses. But on top of grabbing the sunglasses, I also grab a human ball of shit. That's right. I spring out of the water faster than a dolphin. I'm holding up my hand. I can still feel the streak right here. To this day. I point at it, and I turn around as I scream to the entire park, there's shit in this water! There's human shit in this water! Humans put in there! I'm so mad. The children that hated me 4 seconds ago now love me. This is the best day of their lives. They get to play on water slides, and there's a crazy person talking about poo-poo. I go up to the lifeguard, and I'm just like, there's shit! Poop! She's like 15. She gets paid like $4 an hour. She's like, what, dude? It's a kid's water park. Of course there's shit and piss all over. Everybody here, we all have pink eye, buddy. To make matters worse, I have the sunglasses still, though. I go up to my wife, and I'm like, I'm sorry. They were broken. I was like, I'm sorry, your sunglasses were broken. And she's like, it's fine. They were $5 at Target. What? I touched human shit for $5. Had it been like our baby cousins, that's one thing, but a stranger shit, that's weird. And on top of all that, I kept doing the same joke every time we'd go down the slides, you know? I would say to either baby cousin, oh, I just pooped on the slide, it's gonna beat us down. For the rest of my life, they're gonna think that was my shit. Speaking of shit, that's my one transition I have. I had to get a stool sample about a month ago. This is a fun story. I don't recommend it. Not fun, not pleasant. Here's how I guess there's a few ways to go about it. This is how I did it. They asked me to do this. This wasn't just a joyride. The doctor basically gave me like what looks like a children's plastic cowboy hat to take a shit in. You just put it on your toilet, you go. And then there's a tube that comes with it. It has some liquid to keep it fresh or whatever. And a cap that on the back end of the cap, there's just like what's basically the world's smallest, worst spoon ever. And it just pushes it around. It's the worst. I threw up while I was doing it. It was not fun, you guys. But I get the sample. I go to the doctor, I drop it off. They're like, you'll get the results in 3 to 4 days. And 2 weeks pass, no word. I call, nothing. I drive by one day, I was like, I'm just gonna go in there. I go in there, I walk in a lab, and a woman who I've only met for 40 seconds when I handed her my shit, just asked, Doug? And I was like, oh my God, my shit is so weird. She knows my face and name. I am freaked out. She was like, here's the deal, we lost your poop in the mail. And I was like, why is it being mailed? She was like, well, it gets sent to like this other, like the lab, and there's these contractors, and they're the people that screwed it. I'm like, what kind of a job? Can you imagine for a second? Somebody's like, hey, what do you do for work? I'm a third-party contractor. You see people shit in a tube, put it in the mail. I intercept that tube of shit, hand it to a scientist. It's basically the world's worst relay team ever. She's like, you're gonna have to shit in another hat. She gives me a hat. I go home, I'm so sad and mad. I shit in it, I'm furious. I fill that fucker up, man. Which only affects me. Didn't think it through, and afterwards I get the tube out and I realize there's no liquid in this tube to keep it fresh or whatever, so I panic. I'm like, oh my God, it's not gonna be a good sample. I don't know what to do, I freak out. So I just decide I'm gonna run to the doctor, it's not far from the house, and I'm gonna get another tube and hope that it just all stays. So I just leave the shit in the hat on the floor, and I bust out of the bathroom. I'm only in my boxers and latex gloves. And of course, my wife comes home from being out of town for the weekend, right then and there, and I look like a feral animal, and I just yell, don't go to the bathroom! There's shit in the hat! And she's like, I'm never leaving you home alone again. God, I yell poop a lot. I want that on my tombstone. I had a Lyft driver from the Austin airport the other day that didn't speak English, and he turns around pretty quickly, and he just holds his phone in my face with Google Translate, and it has a question for me, and it asks, do you think I can pass a little gas? I swear to God. That's what I see as soon as I get in the lift. Do you think I can pass a little gas? And I'm like, oh my God, I love this guy. He doesn't speak the language, and he's making quirky jokes. This is my jam. I like this guy. And I laugh hysterically in his face, and then he looks so sad and mortified. And I'm like, oh my God, I must have offended him. that there's no way that's what he was actually trying to ask. And so I'm scrambling, and I'm like, I feel so bad for this guy. I'm like, oh my God, what was he trying to ask? And I'm like, I bet he was trying to ask, can I get a little gas? Sure enough, I just yelled, see. Sure enough, we pull into a gas station not long after that. He fills up the tank, and then he gets back in the car and rips the loudest fart I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, now he's fucking with me. This is... I'll do this. We took my dog to the dog, like a dog beach recently. Like this beach is just littered with dogs, like a little dog park on a beach. It was great. But our dog has to be like on a pitch count, basically in the water, because she loves swimming so much, right? So she's having such a good time, and we're not really paying attention because we wanted to have all the fun in the world, but we realized she should have gotten out hours ago because she had apparently drank so much salt water, she just had diarrhea all over the beach. And there's no way to pick that up on the beautiful white sand, so we just kick sand over the shit, put a stick in the ground so we know not to walk over it. And then not 4 minutes later, we look back, there's a little kid building a sandcastle around the stick. Literally the world's shittiest sandcastle ever. Thank you. That was the kid. We just lost my grandfather to autoerotic asphyxiation. It's okay, don't get sad. He didn't die from it. He just enjoys it so much he never has time for us anymore. So, yeah. Just a really passionate guy. I think it's weird that we can't tickle ourselves, but we can masturbate. That's a weird riddle. Why did God do this to us? And I don't know if you know this, but masturbating is like the most tickling a human can do. It's like God doesn't want us to laugh. He only wants us to come. Am I right? A guy stopped me on the streets the other day here in Austin, and he was like, hey, man, I'm just visiting Austin. Do you know where the children's hospital is? And I was like, dude, I do, but you might want to check out a few places first. That place is just going to bum you out, man. Maybe go to Barton Springs or something? Yeah, I knew not to round that, well, whatever. Who here knows who Richard Gere is? Anybody? All right. If you're not familiar, he was this very mediocre actor that had a lot of success in the 90s, right? Best known film-wise for the hit film Pretty Woman. But who knows what he's really best known for? Yell it out. Gerbil, I heard a hamster over there. You're all right. Just depends on what you heard. So now the people that don't know what I'm talking about, who don't know who Richard Gere is, you're very confused. Here's what happened. So back in the 90s, when Richard Gere's career was taking off, something else was taking off. A rumor that Richard Gere one night had to go to the hospital in Los Angeles and have a gerbil removed, and or hamster, removed from his ass. Yeah, this is a true story. We all heard it. I mean, this was before the internet. This is the early 90s, and everybody on the planet knew about this. I was a little kid, and I was like, that's hilarious. The gerbil butt guy. That means there were like street teams, like handing like flyers out or something. I don't know how this even happened. people felt bad for him. They're like, oh, that sucks for Richard Gere. That's terrible, you know? That is awful. And I was like, that's ridiculous. I think it's great for him, you know? Like, somebody was so jealous of his success, they had to make up a rumor they had a gerbil up his ass. That is awesome. That gerbil is a status symbol. Like, I wish I had that. No one's ever said that about me. I currently have 4 gerbils up my ass right now. And I just hope that when Richard Gere passes away, which hopefully is a long time from now, that he has a sense of humor about the whole thing. Like, I hope next to his tombstone is just a tiny little tombstone that says, my buddy. That'd be great. Did you hear that whistle? That was a gerbil. I'll leave you guys with this. I recently accidentally started a dildo collection. Yeah. I know it sounds crazy. This is what happened. Several years back, I was spending my first Christmas with my soon-to-be in-laws. And as we're passing around gifts, I would yell out when a gift was coming from my in-laws, like, oh, this is from you guys. I'd open it, make a big deal about it. And at one point, this giant gift comes my way, and I open it up, and it is a giant dildo. I am baffled. I look at the dildo, I look at them, I look back at the dildo, I never want to look at them again. I'm so scared and confused. I'm like, what do they want me to do with this to their daughter? Like, what am I marrying into? And then right about then, I hear my future brother-in-law start cracking up. And that's when I realized he has played a wonderful prank on me. He just wrapped up a big dick in a box, slapped the label, said it was from their parents, and was like, there you go. I'm not even mad. That is hilarious. You guys should do that this holiday season. We all have a big laugh. Luckily, they're hilarious, so we're all laughing about it. And I'm like, I got to marry into this family. And I do. Cut to a couple years later, I propose at that very same house. This is in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And as soon as I'm done proposing, my brother-in-law brings this 4-foot box, extravagantly wrapped. And we're caught up, we're drinking champagne, we're caught up in the celebration. There's no way there's a dick in a box. It's 4 feet long, it's not a dick. I open it up, wouldn't you know it? It is a dildo. If you don't know what a dildo is, put the words drill and dildo together in your head right now. Close your eyes. What you picture, that's what it is. It's like a Black & Decker drill with a big old dick on the end. The reason the box is so big, I'm not making this up, it comes with a safety helmet, construction goggles, like a safety vest, and the dildo itself features very powerful light. In case you're like wanting to go spelunking a rather cavernous vagina or whatever. We keep the party going, and at one point we're in the middle of like kind of like the desert, and there's a guest house like 100 yards from the main house that we're staying in, and my mother-in-law is like, hey, you guys need a flashlight if you're gonna go back to that house. Because it's bear season, and there are bears in this neighborhood. We can't find a flashlight, but I remember the dildo has a light. So we start walking back to the main the guest house, but you have to press the trigger to make the light go. So the two newly engaged lovebirds are just walking back, just big old dick flopping. And we start giggling because we can't help but notice that it has cast a shadow of a 30-foot dick on the road. We're picturing pilots up above, pointing out, if you look out the left-hand side of the plane, you will see why they call it the land of enchantment. And wouldn't you know it, the one time we come across a bear, we're drunk with a dildo. Long story short, I murdered a bear with a dildo, you guys. I'm joking, he loved it. Tamed the beast. His name is Frank, he lives in the guest house now. Hey, that's it for me, you guys. You guys ready to get the party started? I want you guys